Hey traders, this is Wednesday. Interesting day, 9/6, the date. So the scoreboard was red, but the point of this video is twofold. First, to emphasize how important it is to be ready for the day, even if you're not a fast trader. It's important to have a trade sheet, as they used to call it in the olden days. So whether you're a slow trader or a medium or fast, when you're fast, it's definitely important to have a trade sheet. And the focus of today is not to promote my trade sheet, is to tell you the importance of having one. I'm going to go with mine that I share with everybody that subscribes every day and see how well it helped me navigate a pretty rough ride. The scoreboard doesn't reflect what happened today. It was incredible. I'll walk you through it. So it might take 5 minutes, so bear with me. Please hang around. It's worth it because there are messages along the way. So first things first, let me walk you through the note. The note was way earlier, before the market opened, and I took a snapshot 2 hours after I posted it. So the market felt bearish, but let's focus on the charts in order to control the emotions. It was going to be emotional, and boy was it during the day. If you focused on the news, you got whipsawed this way and that way. And you had the opportunity to lose money if you're a bull or a bear today, if you didn't pay attention. All right, so first things first, I said the S&P is vulnerable to another 0.6%. In the morning, we weren't red yet. And look at the scoreboard. It closed at 0.67. It went way deeper, but it recovered. So we knew that there was downside risk. So we were mentally prepared. We didn't panic when we saw it coming. Small caps, they were showing stronger opportunity for an upside, and they exactly did the upside. This was the upside target, and that's what exactly they did in the morning, and then they let it go. But that's secondary to the conversation that they were supposed to outperform, and they did. The NASDAQ is still looking solid, focused on the big caps, and that's the story. I mentioned Google and Microsoft, and I promise you I omitted Apple on purpose because I knew that Apple was not going to be the star on the upside. And I didn't think it would be the star on the downside, but it was today. And the strategy today was, by the way, I had visuals to all of these comments. And the strategy today was short-term, fast trades, actively trade the charts intraday. And I'll walk you through that. It's pretty exciting. Just listen to it, even if you don't trade fast. A lot of good lessons there. And longer swing trade opportunities, closing winners, which I did, and 3 before the market tumbled today, and make room for new longs. I took 2 new longs. I shared 2, I think. I took 3 new longs. I shared 2. So I executed on plan perfectly. Perfectly. I actively traded the day for everybody else. I didn't. Actually, I did at the end of the day. And I closed winners like I said I would, swing trade opportunities, and opened new ones that fell into support. And I shared them. So I executed on my plan, and I don't care what the headlines were. So let me push this aside and reveal a pretty crazy day. And I'm going to walk you through it if you care about it. Sorry about this. This was a comedy from one of the members. I'm going to go here. What you're looking at, in case you don't know, we're looking at the S&P 15-second chart, super fast chart. Down here, we're looking at Apple slow chart, 4-hour chart. Every candle is 4 hours, so 2 candles is about a day. Up here, we're looking Twilio 5-minute chart. Believe it or not, all 3 were pivotal today for what we did. The morning opened and it was fine. I gave out an iron condor for the active traders and it turned out to be fine, but it took a lot of heat when we fell to here. Somewhere in the mid-morning, I got everybody ready, start thinking defense, 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 and a few people did the defense, and by the end of the day, they got out with a small win. At least they weren't clobbered with maximum loss. So it was a win, especially that it was supposed to be a loss, but it turned out to be a win because of the management skills. So what happened? Who cares? This is a manipulated market, and I have proof. Today, I have proof. Let me pause the video and bring you proof. Again, I'm not bragging. I'm just providing support to my usual statements. Forget the headlines. They don't create new price paths. They just accelerate what was available. So the discussion early in the morning, I said, I'm looking at Twilio, and Twilio is telling me stay long. And then I'm looking at Apple, and I posted this at 6:50 a.m., which is right around here somewhere. 6:57 is where my at 6:50 right there, right there. So we were climbing, and I said this. I said Twilio saying we're gonna break out, and Apple saying I want to go to 182. Look at the low of Apple, 181.70 and 182.60 close. That was out here. The market had not even started falling, right? Minutes later, this happens, this giant drop, which changed the day. And it coincided entirely from Apple's drop. Now you can go and say, oh, headline from China, blah, blah, blah. I dare you. Go Google that headline. You will get results from 3 years ago. This is a 3-year-old headline. They keep regurgitating whenever they want to influence the move in the indices. Apple has always been the tail that wags the dogs. Market makers cheat by manipulating the indices by using Apple. Let me rephrase. If Apple were flat today, not up, not down, the market would be down, the S&P would be down 0.3%. This is a dirty math on it. Plus or minus, which means a giant chunk of this extreme drop in the morning was single-handedly done by Apple. And then we stabilized, and then we had another drop, so I think here somewhere, done by the XLI, the industrials, Caterpillars, Honeywell, things like that. Now, last week and earlier this week, they were using the XLP, Staples, to do the same thing. So think, what is that company that couldn't stop falling? Anyway, these Staples, something like Heinz, Kraft Heinz, and I'm drawing a blank on the one that matters to us, they cannot stop falling. And today they used the Staples. All the while we were still open to the battle, and we traded some upside arrows that took all day to play out, but they ended up playing out. But here's the lesson of the day. First of all, be ready before the day starts. Have a trade sheet or have an idea. It doesn't have to be this well organized. I wouldn't be this well organized if I wasn't publishing it to everybody, all the members. So then you would know what to do if this, that, or the other. Have a plan, execute on plan. How well did you do? If you take a trade like an iron condor, it went bad. Have a plan how to deal with it. We didn't panic. We didn't panic on these ticks. We made decisions when it was stable, when it was rallying. We used rallies to fix it. And then it ended up to being fine. We did an iron butterfly that played out. Even late in the day, another one played out. And we had even time to put some fun trades on the earnings, which I don't know what they're doing. Sweet. I think AI could give us some profits tomorrow from a fun iron butterfly that we did last minute, which is not a real trade, just a fun trade. So the plan needs to be there. You need to have an idea. You don't have to be that organized. You also need to disconnect from the news. It's not there to help you. This Apple headline has been in the news for 3 years. I Googled it. I found instances 12 hours old, 3 hours old, 3 years old, 1.5 years old, 1 year old. They're scattered. Every once in a while, somebody comes out with the same headline. I don't even know what it is. Something about Chinese authorities in some company or another or government are not allowed to use iPhones. Okay, so it's not news. They just rehashed it. How did I know about this headline before it broke out? I didn't. What did I see? I saw a wolf wave in the chart that said Apple 182 or less. I said the first stop was 182. The next it could be 178 or 179. But that is, I put it in writing. It's not like I'm making this up. And we had 280 people in the room to testify. So please believe me when I tell you that the headlines don't matter. Every once in a while we get a headline that matters, but most don't. Apple does not have a sales problem. So a headline about potential fewer sales is not an issue. Aren't they always sold out of stuff? Yeah, they don't have a sales problem. It's not going to affect their bottom line. All right. What other tricks did we use today to calm each other down? We stopped, we zoomed out, and we looked at the big picture. So we went in here and we went to the NASDAQ, for example, and we looked at the big picture. So this is the NASDAQ 1 hour chart quite a few days back until August. So we said we had a rally from here to here. We haven't even given up halfway. We're still trying to establish this prior fail, which was a breakout and support we're trying to establish it as support. And if we lose this one, we have backup supports. So this helps me put a frame around it. We have higher lows, higher highs, higher highs. I have all the evidence that we are buying dips. We had one big dip we bought, and this is another dip, sizable, we're buying, maybe. So I'm not all the way to the moon, but for now, I don't change my perception about the world. Look at this failure here. Fail, not fail, trying to establish it. We may fall to here and come back and twist around it one more time. The bottom line is I just zoom out to calm myself down. I don't succumb to the headlines. It's easy. But today we managed it. Even other people were trying to calm me down because my voice started to accelerate or get higher because the questions started pouring in faster and faster. And then I was told, whoa, let's settle down. And we settled it all back down. And we had a kick-ass day inside the room, but it was pretty challenging for 99% of the people out there. We had an arrow that played out at the end of the day. So if somebody took calls and didn't stop out, which would have been the wrong thing to do, you should have stopped out, they still ended up with money. If somebody sold a credit put spread that was in trouble, they ended up green. If somebody caught the falling knife, they ended up green. We caught the falling knife with calls, only those who weren't already long and suffering. And some held, some blocked. If you rolled the credit put spread that was in trouble, after the rally, I got message, I rolled it, and by the end of the day, I had the opportunity to close the new position that I rolled for a 25% win or 25% of maximum gains. I don't know. Greens, no losses. So proper procedure kept us from being victims to Wall Street manipulations. I have no doubt in my mind that today's price action was manipulated by the powers that be. It's not one big entity that goes out there and says we're going to do this. It's just a bunch of people set up to use headlines and other means of manipulating price action. Either you drive a big component like Apple price action, or you drive an industry like the XLI or the XLP, or you fabricate headlines here and there to promote this idea or that idea en masse. The problem is all the news out in seconds everywhere. So everybody sees the same news instantly. Like this was the ideal scenario for trading the stock market. If you're an older trader, you know this, that the presumption is that everybody has the same information available to them at the same time. Careful what you wish for. Now we have it. Well, now we have a problem controlling its truth, its validity. We made the assumption that the information would be quality information available at the same time, not just crap flying around at the speed of light. And that's what we have right now, which is why you need to have a plan and a backup plan. All right, well, it turned out to be 12 minutes. Sorry about that.